Hi everyone, my name is Lucy and today we are going to continue working on this file folder. Not sure what we're going to call it yet. It might be a folio, it might turn out to be a folio, but we'll see. So today I am going to begin just decorating the inside of this folder, the inside flaps that I'm going to connect with the front flap. So we're going to start on the pockets. So with that said, we are going to pick either what we're going to use, if it's a cardstock or if we are going to be using vellum, which color, it could be any color vellum, or if we're going to be using page protectors, which is one of the strongest ones so far that I know, besides the acetate, but I don't have acetate. So today we're probably going to be using the page protector, and that's what we're going to do. First, I want to begin with a cardstock to do the left side of the folder, and we're going to create two pockets on this side. One is going to be 4 inches and the other one is going to be about 7 inches, almost to the top, but I just want to create two simple pockets on this side of the folder. So I went ahead and got some paper, my paper pack, and picked a few pages that I thought would be a good decoration on top of this pink one that I have here. So first we're going to work on this flap, and we are going to be doing 7 inches pocket, and then we will do a smaller one on the bottom that's about 4 inches. So now I'm going to cut the cardstock to the size of the folder, and the folder the wide size is 8.5, but from top to bottom I want it to be 7 inches, just to get to that specific corner of the folder where it ends on a tab. This way we have this pocket here. This big pocket is 7 inches tall, and then we are going to cover that one, and then the other one I have behind the folder that you see there is 4 inches tall. Okay, now I'm going to audition it because the bottom is longer, but side by side, so it fits perfectly like this. So it's 7 inches tall, it looks perfect. And then I'll cover the bottom with the 4-inch pocket like this. And this is gonna be just perfect, simple 2 pockets in the front flap. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to cover this cardstock with these beautiful papers that I picked. And the one I wanna use right now is gonna be this one that has some cute little shoes on it, and it says Paris. Yes, has some French words. It's very delicate and pretty, and that's what we're going to be using. And I think it's gonna look really pretty in front of this pink flower background. So what I'm gonna be using is glue stick, and yes, glue stick. It's not gonna be I'm not going to use any other permanent glue right now, because the intention is I am going to sew around it so that it looks pretty and it has a cute design. And I put a lot of glue stick. I use a lot of these glue sticks because it actually keeps everything together while I am sewing, and it doesn't get stuck to my needles, so it's perfect. And then I am going to glue it to this page, which I think it would be easier if I just flip it around and just put the cardstock on top of it. That way I can see the white, and it's easier for me to put it in straight. And it's easier with this glue because you can move it if you need to. You can take it off and put it back on if you mess up. But it doesn't matter. It'll still look pretty. We can always cut the excess and put once we do the sewing. So now I'm burnishing it just a little, and then I'm gonna cut it off with my box cutter, It is easier, but you have to do it very gentle because with the box cutter you can cut the page and just make it all jagged and not pretty. So I just gently go over it once, tug it to see if it comes off. If not, then I try again, just gentle, and then I'll take it off. But you see how it takes a little bit? I just don't want to break the page. The page is thin, so it'll break it, you know? So that's why I do it that way. Now I'll do the other side. And again, gentle. You cut the page. If it's a cardstock, then you can do it a little bit stronger, but when it's a page like this, then you have to do it gentle, otherwise it'll break. It's happened to me before. Okay, so we put this one aside, and now we are going to cover the bottom pocket with another page. I was thinking one of these, but I'm not sure about them, so I go back into my book and I look for something else. So there's a lot of beautiful ones in here, but I was drawn to that pink one with the pattern in it, and I decided that's gonna be my bottom pocket. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and glue it with my glue stick on that pattern paper so that we can create this pocket. And then we're gonna put it together with the panel. And we're gonna glue it to this panel, but first I wanna go ahead and, so now I'll just take the punch and just make the punches only on the top of the pocket, the top two corners, not the bottom corners. Then I will take it to my sewing machine and sew all around it with just a single stitch. Okay, so now that I stitched around it, I used just a simple stitch. And now we're gonna take the strings off, and then we're gonna attach it to the folder. So now that this is all done, now we can go ahead and decorate all around it by using some gilded wax. And I end up doing both pockets and all of the flaps of the folder, the outside and the inside flaps of, you know, that I have separated that I'm gonna attach together eventually. So we are going to be using the gilded wax that I have. It's a metallic wax and it's from Alchemy, Art Alchemy, and I got it on Amazon. And I usually use it for everything, and it's kind of getting low, so I might have to order a new one soon. But this is what I'm gonna do. I usually use my fingers around it, but today I don't want to use my fingers for it. I'm just gonna use the brush. That way I don't put it all over the place. This is why I use my fingers. It's a mess. It's a lot easier with the brush because I figured out a way to do it where I can just put it on the edge like this, and then I just slide it down and it covers the whole edge in a line. So it's less of a mess. It's not perfect, but it's beautiful. It just decorates the edge of the paper, and it gives it a little bit more, like, I don't know, more feminine, more class. It looks prettier, it looks neater, and you don't see the edge of the paper in white. So if I weren't going to be using this specific, you know, wax, then I would use the distress ink that I have over there on the right, which is from Ranger. And usually the one I use is Vintage Photo. If not, then I'll use the Walnut if I want it a little darker. But that's basically what I would do, just to, you know, get rid of the white lines on the edges. And it just makes it look a lot prettier. Even though I didn't want like complete vintage look, I just want every color to show off on its own. I figured the gold would be a lot better. I'm only going to use it for 3 sides, not on the top portion. Not sure yet. I may do it, but I'm not sure yet. We'll see. At this point, since I'm doing a voiceover, I cannot remember if I actually did it on the top portion. So, but I know I did all of them. So I did both pockets, and then I ended up doing the whole folder. So the inside flaps that I have and the outside as well, so that it looks, you know, cohesive and it's all even. It looks prettier that way too anyway. I don't want to put anything else. That decorates it itself, you know, it just makes it look pretty. I love it. I think I need to get me a couple more. I've been saying that for a while now, that I wanted to get the silver one and the copper. I think the copper is beautiful. But for some things, I would like to use those colors, especially in my other books that I am working on. This is definitely not going to be the only folder I'm going to make. This is the second one, but I really need to make some more. I have so much paper, I need to put them to use. Okay, so now I am going to do the same thing with the cover. At this time with some of this wax. And now it's going to look like if I did the whole folder inside out. And that's going to make it look very pretty. Okay, so now it's time to glue the pockets. I just wanted to make sure that the wax wasn't completely wet so that I don't make a mess out of this. So we're going to put them together and we are going to put it into the flap. So now I was just thinking about what I was going to use, and I ended up using the Beacon glue because this one doesn't let it warp, and the wet glue takes a lot longer to dry. Then this one is a lot easier. So I just put it on 3 sides and make sure that it's completely glued down, and that's it. This should be ready. And here I noticed I was putting it on the top portion, and I'm like, oh no. Take the glue off. My goodness, I need that pocket. So you just really got to look at your pocket to see which 3 sides are you going to put the glue, and you don't do the same mistake I was just making. So now I just put it on the 3 sides. And you don't need a lot of glue with this. This actually works really well. I'm just trying to clean it up and make sure I had enough to cover the edges really well. So by this time, my hands were already hurting pretty bad. So you will notice that the continuation of this video, you will see the difference. I'm wearing a gray sweater this time around, and then you'll see me using a red plaid shirt later on. This little square here is just to get rid of the glue, the excess glue, which is great because then it cleans it out and it doesn't leave it all sticky. So basically what I was trying to say was I put 2 videos together just so that I can make it so that you guys can see more or less what I did. So I edit the video and cut out some parts that were repetitive just so that you don't have it showing over and over. Okay, so this one is down. Now we're going to do the second pocket as well. So we're going to put glue on 3 sides and then cover the bottom of this folder so that we don't see the yellow part. And I'm going to use the same glue just to adhere this pocket on there. And it's just a simple pocket. We're not going to have gussets or anything on this one because this is just the outside folder. We're going to add more folders in the middle of this folder. This glue is pretty sticky, so it's going to stay down, and it's already looking pretty. So it's 3 different patterns, but because they have the same color, it matches perfectly, and I love it. I just think it looks really good, especially with the gold all around it. Now I'm just going to clean it all out and burnish it again so that it sticks together. And when you burnish it, a lot of the glue comes out, and again, you can use that eraser and it will clean it all up. It kind of gets like hard, so it's easy for you to just roll it off your fingers and throw it out. It doesn't mess up the paper, which is what I love about it. If I use the other glue, then it actually gets too wet, and sometimes it messes up the paper when I'm going over and over on it. So now I'll just stick the ruler inside of the pockets to make sure that everything is good, that I have enough space, and more or less know how much space I have, so that when we start adding the ephemera, it fits perfectly in there, and we'll see how big it is. Even though I'll still measure more or less what the sizes are going to be to go inside of this pocket, so it'll be all right. But this one is done. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and get the inside of the folder glued together with the front side of the folder. I was calling it a flap. I don't even know why I'm calling it a flap, because it's a folder. It's just that it's cut in half, and I'm gonna glue it together with the cover. So I'm just taking out whatever is you know, sticking out that doesn't look right, and just cutting it off with my craft knife. Everything should be good now. But then I noticed here, I think that I noticed here that I didn't put any gilded wax on the bottom of the folder, but that's okay. We're just gonna put it on now. You'll see me doing that now, and just start getting it prepped for that. And then I won't be able to work with it because it's going to be wet, so I'm gonna have to let it dry and just put it aside, and you'll see that in a moment. So here is the next day, and I'm showing you that it's all dry. And I decided that I wanted to add a little bit more in the front. I guess it's how I felt that day. I just thought it would be a good idea to put a lace in the front and then start working on the other side of the folder to add more pockets to it. So this is a cute lace that was gifted to me from one of my friends through Happy Mail. They sent, and so now I am going to use it on this folder, and I think it's so pretty. It's perfect. It matches the same colors that I'm using in the folder. And guys, this is where I found out that I can actually make the video go further out so that you guys can see the whole picture of what I'm doing. I was messing around with the phone that day, and I literally figured it out. I'm like, I can't believe I've had this phone for 3 years now, and I didn't know that I could do this. That's okay. It takes some time. I didn't use it for anything else before, but now that I am filming and doing videos on my crafting, I am learning a lot of different other things that I can do and use. So you can see here that I had already sewed the lace, and now I'm just cutting away the strings from it and the excess lace and making it even and pretty, and it looks really good. I did it with just a simple stitch, so it's not so much stitching in the front and it doesn't look overwhelming, just simple. And I'm using black stitch for everything because it stands out. I wish I had a burgundy or another color, like a lighter, darker pink. The ones that I have are a bit too bright, so it didn't look pretty. So I just decided either white or black. I think the black actually looks a lot better for stitching around it for accent. Okay, so now I took out my scrap box of all of my laces that I have to see what I can decorate with. And I can tell you right now, I did not know what I was going to do or how I was going to do it, but just watch through the process. I'm going to just let you watch for a little bit just so you can see all the things that I took out and tried and looked, and I just couldn't figure out what I really wanted to do. And in the end, I ended up using paper, really. And some of the laces, you'll see. By this point, I had already taken so many laces out. I went into my drawer and I found a couple others that I wanted to see what it would look like. And again, it just took me forever trying to figure out what I really wanted to do to decorate it. I didn't want to make it too simple either. I just wanted to decorate the inside a little bit better than that, but I just couldn't make up my mind on laces at this time. Even this one right here, I wanted to use this blue one so bad, but I couldn't. It's just, even though it was blue, it was pretty, but it just didn't match. And I was just like, forget it. This is not gonna work. I'm not putting any lace. I'm just gonna go ahead and use something else. So I put all of the ribbons and laces and everything I had aside, and I looked onto my side and I found the handmade papers that I buy from Heather from Rosehill Paper Cottage, and decided, okay, we can start here, and then maybe I can use some of the other papers that I got as well, which are vintage papers, but they're like scraps. They're little pieces you can use, and so I like to use them for collaging and stuff. So I figured that's basically what I want to do. I want to make a collage and put in the front pockets. So I took one of the other packets that I bought from her, and I decided, okay, this is what I'm going to be using then. And so you'll see what I get done. So then afterwards, I started thinking I could probably use some of these vintage papers that I was using earlier. I had bought Distress Texture Paste and I wanted to use it. So I went ahead and added some color into it, and it came out so pretty that I figured this is the color I'm using in this folder, so why not use it? And I started prepping for my collage. And that's when I started thinking about what I really wanted to do in front of the first pocket on the folder. So you can see after I made all that mess, now you can tell that I more or less have what I really want as a collage in front of the first pocket. So now I'm gonna have to try and glue it down the way that it is. And I'm gonna glue it with the same glue, that way it doesn't warp. Some of these papers are vintage papers, so they can break easily. And I'm using just a little piece of the handmade paper on the top. So what I do is kind of what I've learned with Barbara at 49 Dragonflies. You start from the top and continue to the next page all the way till you get to the bottom. Once you have glued all the little pieces together, then it's easier to just grab the whole thing and glue the back, all of it, all the way down to the pocket, as you see here. And I also have put a little bit of that, I believe it's Tulle. It makes it look so cute. I love it. But that's how I've learned how to glue a whole collage, so it doesn't come out of place. So that is the extent of my mess that I make. I eventually pick it all up when I go to my next thing to do, because it'll drive me nuts if it's there and I only have that little tiny space to work in. It happens every single time. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. You probably hear my dog snoring. She's sleeping. Oh my goodness. She is really snoring loud. Funny. So now I'll glue this down. And after it's all done, I will begin cleaning up and picking up for the next step. So I quickly begin to pick up everything so we can start. And for old time's sakes, I get the one of the ribbons or lace or whatever I find, and I start trying it out to see if it actually works, and I want to do it on the top pocket, but I just end up putting everything away. So you'll see here. See, I like that gold one, and maybe I could have done it if I didn't put any of the gold in wax, you know, the edging, and it would look okay. Or maybe it still did, but I just didn't put it on. So now we're just gonna jump into doing the pockets on the other side of the folder with the page protector. And as you can see here, I had already started, but I come to realize that I had sewn it the wrong way. I actually sewn the pockets, so it was not gonna work out. I'm supposed to do it, just fold it, sew it, I think once, and then finishing the job by sewing it with the folder, so that it actually is connected at the same time. So I don't have to sew it like 2 or 3 times. But you'll see it's just a total mess. So I had to start it all over again. But it's okay. These things are handmade. It takes time. And I have patience, you know. So I just took my time and did the best that I could with it. And you'll see in a minute when I start adding it to the folder. It looks pretty good. So before I folded, I added to the folder, I had to get rid of this white part where all the holes are for like a binding. That way it's not showing and I don't have to do it when it's already connected to the folder. And now I go ahead and sew it onto it. And I fuss a little bit with it, so you'll see, because it keeps moving. And this is the one that I had closed the pockets on it. It was so bad. Now I was checking the pockets to make sure that it was okay, but it came out a little crooked. And so I was just like, okay, I'm going to reinforce just the middle a little bit. And you'll see I sew it just to make the two pockets. But it was so fuzzy. It just kept moving. And I didn't want to go all the way to the top because I want that one to be a big pocket. But now when I look at it, I realize, oh, that long pocket that I wanted on the inside did not come out right. So wait till you see. I'm over here sticking my fingers or my hands inside of the pockets, and I'm looking at it like, oh no. So the top one is two pockets as well because I sewed it there. So now I'm gonna have to go ahead and sew the top portion and divide it as well, just like I did the other one. So it became 4 pockets instead. And that, my friend, is what happens. If I don't really think about it carefully, I just didn't realize what I was doing. I wanted the 2 pockets on the bottom and 1 big pocket on top. That did not go for the way that I expected, but it's okay. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and decorate the bottom with a lace, which is like the golden lace. I love this one. This one is very shiny and it came out so pretty. This is exactly the one that I wanted to use in the other side, but I think it would look really good just to cover the bottom of the pocket, and it covers the imperfection of it not being even because it kind of move and it's tighter on one side and a little bit longer on the other side. That's okay. So now I'm just taking off the strings and cutting the excess lace, and there you have it. I have the other side. So I hope you like the video, and I was able to do it a little bit more concise for you to see all of the details, but not too much where you get bored. So if you like it, please just hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.